Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Colorado Rockies rebuild franchise here on MLB The Show 24. Today, we're going to get right into the MLB trade deadline here as we head towards the end of year 4. Our Rockies in the midst of another chase at a pennant this season, but more importantly, hopefully a World Series championship as we look to put together the final pieces here at the trade deadline. But Juan Soto does headline the market as the Padres have made him available yet again. He, Fernando Tatis, Xander Bogaerts, and Manny Machado have all found themselves on the trade block here at some point throughout the past year or two as the Padres look to shed one of those massive contracts they signed. Juan Soto now at age 28, 98 overall, but is regressing ever so slightly. Last season absolutely tore it up, 48 home runs, 144 RBIs with a 340 batting average, slugged over 1,000. The numbers quite a bit down this season, although still very productive, but not at the level the Padres were hoping for after they signed him back in the year 1 free agency, as he had that short stint with the New York Yankees and then returns here to San Diego. But still 3 years on his contract after this season. It looks like he is going to stay there in San Diego, as no team is really going to offer up as much as they're hoping for to get in exchange. And we have Jake Burger, a slugger here on the market, 19 home runs entering the trade deadline, slugging .426, numbers down very much last season at just 200 batting average, slugging under 400. Still 22 home runs for that, but he has not been consistent. He strikes out a lot, but definitely can provide some pop, especially against lefties with 94 power versus lefties, although it is regressing at this point, -5 on the season. Joey Weimer, tremendous fielder there in right field, can play really every outfield spot, 80 speed, hits lefties very, very well, having a career year now into year 5 with the Milwaukee Brewers. 12 home runs, one short of a career high with 48 RBIs, which does set a career high, and every number there on the slash line up a great bit compared to his career average, especially that slugging at 600, about 200 points over his career average. Then we get to Aaron Civale here of our Colorado Rockies, and we did make him available just because he's been a little bit down since last season. Going into the All-Star break, he was phenomenal for us after signing him as a free agent, but post All-Star break, he really struggled, and that kind of carried into this season as he's 5-10 in 125 and a third with a 4.31 ERA, 1.28 WHIP, but 11 quality starts, a 1.7 WAR, and the Ks per 9, the highest he's seen in about 4 seasons. So I think Aaron Civale can still be a productive starting pitcher in a rotation, especially with that five pitch mix, a lot of experience under his belt. But we have some options such as Kyle Freeland or maybe one of our top pitching prospects in Michael Yamashita or Juan Ayala, who can take his spot. And I think we can look to exchange Civale in a trade for someone to kind of bolster our lineup, as we've really struggled to generate consistent runs here after the All-Star break, as our lineup has really skidded out of the gate. Carlos Correa, now of the Toronto Blue Jays, is on the trade block. Very good season last year, going 30 home runs, 266 batting average. This year, the number's a little bit down, as he's now 32 years old. 2 years left of team control after this season, although each side can opt out if they choose to do so, as he is starting to regress in most categories, but still a good slugging shortstop, a lot of experience. We'll see if a team takes him on here at the trade deadline. Akil Baddoo of the Detroit Tigers, lefty bat, still some potential at B potential, up to an 82 overall. Decent season for a really struggling Detroit Tigers team. Zach Neto of the Kansas City Royals, Tyler Stevenson of the Milwaukee Brewers, an A potential catcher, just really hasn't had the volume or playing time over the course of his career so far, already 30 years old, so still some untapped potential there, but not sure if he's going to turn the tide on any team that's looking for an upgrade at catcher. Brandon Lowe of the Atlanta Braves, who are currently, I think, number 1 in the National League, if not the Los Angeles Dodgers, maybe looking to upgrade their pitching by getting rid of a solid utility man. J.P. Crawford up here, experienced shortstop from the Angels, having a very good season for a team, maybe looking to bolster that spot on the team. Taylor Ward, a very good hitting outfielder, can play first and third. The contact numbers going way up there now, up to 75 against righties and lefties. The power is slipping a little bit, but 315 batting average there for the Kansas City Royals, slugging .541, OPS at .942, so definitely some value to be had there for the Royals, who are challenging the Minnesota Twins for the AL Central title this season. But with that, I think we will try and work our own trade here. Really not much left on the market. Matt Chapman of the Houston Astros now. Oswald Peraza of the Yankees. Tyler Alexander and Yel De Los Santos, some relievers here. Kevin Gausman, now 36 years old, of the Atlanta Braves, 9-3 on the season. Ian Happ here of Toronto, batting just .210, but I kind of had a trade in mind. We're going to go for someone who wasn't necessarily on the trade block. We'll take a look at the standings before we do so. And we've really slipped here in the NL West. The Dodgers now 9.5 games up on us, and we're only 2 games up on the San Diego Padres. even though they do have a negative run differential on the season, we've really struggled post All-Star break. They've made up some ground in that short while. But we're going to look at teams who are really struggling this year that are going to be, sellers here at the deadline. The Cubs, Pirates among those teams, the Nationals. But we're going to look to the American League, not the Athletics, who are kind of climbing up a little bit still at the bottom of the AL West, but only 15 games under 500, a little bit better than they're accustomed to. The White Sox, Tigers have been perennial doormats of the AL Central over the course of this franchise, if not beyond that. But we're going to target the Cleveland Guardians, 20 games under 500. They've struggled over the course of this franchise, so I think they're going to be sellers here at the deadline, as we'll go over to the Guardians here. And Jose Ramirez, now at 34 years old, still one of the game's best sluggers, batting .286, .377 OBP of .484 slugging, and he does have one more year left on his contract with that mutual option. So I think he would be a player the Guardians are shopping, but we're not going to go super elegant there in the form of Jose Ramirez. We'll go down the roster a little bit here, and we're going to land on Steven Kwan, lefty bat, B potential up to 87 overall. He's progressed very nicely over the course of this franchise. The power there in the mid to high 40s, but the contact in the mid to high 80s with impeccable vision, discipline, clutch. Very good fielder as well, and we like the skill set he brings to the lineup, to the diamond in general, with a very high baseball IQ. He's going to get on base. Two-time Gold Glove winner there in left field. Only a one-time All-Star though, but batting .307 on the season with a .393 OBP, .458 slugging, and .851 OPS. And I've expressed how much we need a true leadoff hitter, and while he doesn't bring that speed you really expect at the top of the lineup, he's going to get on base about 40% of the time, which you really can't replace that or replicate that. Oftentimes, 7 home runs on the season with 44 RBIs, almost an even 1-to-1 walk to strikeout rate, which is absolutely absurd, with 20 stolen bases as well. So he's a guy, going to hit 300, steal 20 bases, and play flawless defense out there in left field as well. He's on an expiring year of his contract, so set to hit the free agent market. Maybe someone we try and re-sign if we are able to acquire him here at the trade deadline. A 4.2 WAR already on the season, and that isolated power at 151 set to hit a career high in that mark. He's experienced a very good career over his course with the Cleveland Guardians, .296 hitter with 931 hits, 42 home runs. But now at this point, as he kind of enters the peak of his career, he wants to win, and I think the Cleveland Guardians are all in on rebuilding that team. It's been a long upward climb, but I don't think they're committed to pouring so much money into Steven Kwan at age 30, and instead they'll try and recoup some compensation in return. So I was trying to think of someone they'd be interested on our side, and I landed on Yanquiel Fernandez, 24 years old, A potential at 78 overall, and I think he would serve as a tremendous replacement in this trade for Steven Kwan, 5 years younger with a higher ceiling, and even though he's had a down couple seasons here, he's continuing to progress, and with that A potential, he could end up being better than Steven Kwan one day. Maybe not as good of a hitter, but he looks to be a potential 4-tool type player, with that power against lefties going up now, +5 up to 64. Contact versus righties up to 67. So he's not going to be a one-dimensional hitter, even though he's struggled batting just .219 this season, .218 last season, as the average and slugging have both dipped after that first year as a full-time starter, but more of a impact player going back to 2025, where he hit 10 home runs, batted .263, and now he's kind of struggled to secure that full-time spot in left field, but still a lot of potential with A potential, and then 24 years old. So the Guardians are willing to take a chance on this Cuban import with a lot of upside. So we'll go ahead and throw him into the deal. And of course, that's not going to quite do it right now. So we do see Cleveland is also seeking a starting pitcher. And we did mention Aaron Savali as someone we could throw in a trade. And I do like the fit, the thought of him going back to Cleveland where his career started, enjoyed some good years there before going to Tampa Bay, and then, of course, landing here in Colorado. So I think Aaron Savali is someone that does have a team option. I think the Guardians would like that flexibility, especially at just $9.4 million. Someone to fill out their rotation, as they do have quite a staff at this point with Gavin Williams up to A potential. Same story here with Casey Mize, who we did trade for at last year's deadline, but he elected to sign with Cleveland in free agency instead of returning to Colorado, where he did struggle for the most part. Tanner B potential, and then it kind of falls off after that. Some younger guys here in Parker Messick and Anthony Solometo, who still have not really carved out full-time roles at the MLB level. So I think they would take on Aaron Savali to complete that rotation, which would give them a focus of filling out their lineup going into next season, filling out that bullpen. And I think before we know it, they could be set to compete in the AL Central, especially if the Tigers and White Sox continue to struggle. But we're not going to be done there. So we have Fernandez and Savali in this deal, Steven Kwan on the side of Cleveland. And they also had Andres Munoz on the trade block, 85 overall, 28 years old, He was very good in his first season with the Guardians, at least, in that closer spot, converting 46 out of 52, but did have a 4.86 ERA, a 1.42 whip, and this season it's been absolutely horrid for him. A 6.38 whip, a 6.38 ERA with a 1.96 whip. Only 24 strikeouts. You expect a little more production from him in that spot, as that's just a strikeout per inning. You expect him to have higher marks. 13 saves in 19 attempts, so his 6 blown saves already matches last year's total. So they're kind of willing at this point to just, flat out put him on waivers, designate him for assignment, but instead they're willing to throw him in this trade, a much needed change of scenery for Andres Munoz, who at times has been one of the more dominant pitchers in the game out of the bullpen, with that 99 velocity, 88 break, 91 Ks per 9, good clutch rating there at 76, but it's really just been downhill ever since 2024, where he was 46 out of 49 with the Mariners. Since then, the ERA, whip have really just ballooned, so they're going to throw Andres Munoz in this trade, which does keep it even, but for the sake of realism, I'll even sweeten the pot for them. They're also seeking a center fielder. We have a few here in the minors we could choose from. Won Yang-Hu is my personal favorite. 95 speed and absolute menace on the base paths with 81 contact versus righties, 74 versus lefties, and he's been dominating down there in Double-A after we drafted him last year in the second round, batting .332, 378 OBP, 431 slugging for an 809 OPS. 23 stolen bases, so definitely not going to move him in a trade. Instead, it's probably between Luis Castro here, lefty bat with decent power compared to these other guys we have in center field. Armando Cabrera, another lefty bat, tremendous speed up to 87, although needs a lot of improvement in a lot of other areas. So a long-term project here at 18 years old at Dominican Republic. For him, his best trait, obviously that speed, but his glove, his hitting, a lot needs to be developed in that phase. So I think we'll keep Castro. He's just a little bit more of a finished product. Brings a little bit different of a skill set compared to these other guys. Also have Robert Marmoleo here, already 23 years old, up to only 59 overall, but A potential, so another high ceiling guy. But he's injured at the moment with the torn labrum, so we couldn't include him even if we wanted to. So I think we'll go Armando Cabrera. We'll throw him into the deal, give the Guardians a project to work with here at center field. You like that lefty bat, that speed, but you just have to work that bat a ton. But he is seeing good progression, +3 in power versus lefties, but +2 across the board elsewhere. So it does give us some interest back, and I would just do it straight up, but we'll throw someone else in as a filler just to give us, a little more depth at the minor league level. And we're going to turn to Truman Zicafus, lefty relief pitcher out of South Carolina, a 4-seamer, 2-seamer, and sweeping curve. We really need to add another lefty arm into our organization, especially a relief pitcher, even though I think we did just draft one, I think in Bowen. We'll see here shortly our draft class and how their ratings and potential all turned out, but we are going to throw Zicafus into this trade, 5'11", 188, seeing good progression, +4 hits per 9, +3 Ks per 9, and then +2 across the board elsewhere, including clutch and control. So far at Double-A, 18 and a third, 2.45 ERA, pretty good, but the whip a little bit higher than you want at 1.47, 2-to-1 strikeout to walk rate, 1 home run given up, and that 18 and a third, 2 out of 4 on saves with 8 holds. So it looks like he might be serving as the setup man or closer by committee. And he does have a couple saves, but we're going to throw Truman Zicafus into this deal, more so based on the name, as we are going to acquire Steven Kwan here from the Cleveland Guardians, along with Andres Munoz. Truman Zicafus, as Munoz, much needed change of scenery. Hopefully he can catch on with our Colorado Rockies during our playoff run, as we get some high potential added to the bullpen. The Guardians are going to get back Yanquiel Fernandez, a high potential left fielder who's already had about 3 years of playing experience, as they hope he can hit that next level as a longtime left fielder there for the Cleveland Guardians. They're going to get Aaron Savali, a longtime starting pitcher here in the MLB, as he'll return to the Guardians. And they're also going to get Armando Cabrera, an absolute blazer on the base pass with that 87 speed, 96 base running aggressiveness. Lefty bat who is seeing very good progression over the course of this season, but probably quite a years away from hitting the MLB level, as this trade is official now, as our Rockies acquire Steven Kwan. Welcome to Colorado. As, of course, we do have to go ahead and insert him into the lineup. But we'll get our first look at Kwan here as a member of the Rockies. And he does look good sporting the purple pinstripes. And there's Andres Munoz as well, number 75. 24 innings on the season. Hopefully the next set of innings go a lot better than that limited sample size. As we do have Ken Hughes as our closer. 26 out of 33 on the season. So if his inconsistencies continue, maybe Andres Munoz is someone that can supplant him and give us more consistency. And now we're here from PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates for Steven Kwan's Rockies debut. Our Rockies at 60 and 51. So about 50 games left of this Year 4 season as we try to wrap things up here. Probably going to be a couple more episodes. Going to try and, go rapid fire here as we close out. But before that, we want to check in on Steven Kwan in this player lock game as our big acquisition at this year's trade deadline, along there with Andres Munoz. Kwan is going to be batting leadoff today, as the Pittsburgh Pirates have yet to make the playoffs during this franchise, as they continue to kind of rebuild that franchise there, although it doesn't seem like they take it too seriously with the ownership there. Currently kind of a bad situation there for the Pirates, but it is a rainy day here from Pittsburgh, hopefully not foreshadowing what we're going to see here from Steven Kwan, the career .296 hitter, spent his first 5-6 years with the Guardians, and of course we just traded for him at the trade deadline along with Andres Munoz, who maybe will make his Rockies debut as well in this one. Mitch Keller gets the mound here for Pittsburgh, 5.22 ERA and whip over 1.5, 5.11 on the season, so not the best start for him, the long-time Pittsburgh Pirate. At this point, I want to say he's probably the longest tenured player on the team and one of their better starting pitchers, albeit a very bad season for the veteran pitcher. And then there we see Steven Kwan, a two-time Gold Glove Award winner, batting over 300 this season with 20 stolen bases, and he plays a very, very good left field. So we'll see how he does here in his first game with the Rockies, as that first pitch cutter does miss the zone low. And the Pirates currently last in the NL Central, 20 games under 500, about, I think 19 it was exactly. And the 1-0 count to Kwan, and he will ground that to second base. And I think that's Bay at second, as Steven Kwan in his first Rockies at-bat grounds out to second base. And now we're here in the bottom half of the inning. Sung-Chae Chang is up right now. We'll get our first look at Steven Kwan in the field as he takes over for Yanquiel Fernandez, who is, of course, sent to Cleveland in that trade. And that's going to go for a base hit as it splits the third baseman and shortstop there. Ryan McMahon a diving attempt, but nothing doing, as Pittsburgh does get a base runner with one out here in the first. And then we do move ahead now. Top of the third, nothing doing there for Pittsburgh as they had that base runner. And now Steven Kwan on with a runner on second. So the go-ahead run now in scoring position as that first pitch curveball misses. Now here's the 1-0. And that one, good pitch there. Fastball does find the zone as it's now evened up 1-1. Steven Kwan only about an hour trip here to Pittsburgh from Cleveland, as he'll send that one out to left field. And that will get into the glove of the left fielder. Thought it might drop for a base hit. As Steven Kwan now falls to 0-2 in his debut. That's Smith and Jigba out there making the catch. And now Buddy Kennedy on 5 home runs, 29 RBIs on the season for the Pittsburgh third baseman. Leading it off here in the bottom of the third, Dustin May on the mound for the Rockies. He's had a very strong second half of the season, although he's given up 2 base hits that we've seen at least here in the early goings, as Buddy Kennedy reaches first with a leadoff single. No score still here now into the top of the 5th. Steven Kwan 0 for 2 with that fly out, a ground out. Mitch Keller still out there sporting a shutout to this point. No score for each side so far. And Steven Kwan chasing that high fastball. And he'll swing and miss at that one. And now here's the 0-1. That one low as we even up the count. And see on the bottom ticker there, the Rangers trade for Jazz Chisholm Jr. from the White Sox, as he did sign with Chicago, if not this past offseason, the offseason before. So the White Sox vacating that contract very early as that fastball misses high. So now a 3-1 count here to Steven Kwan as Eloy Jimenez is on deck. And Kwan going to foul that one off as it's now a full count here. Really hope we can get Kwan at least a base hit, in his debut. As here's the payoff pitch. And that one should have put us on base with a walk, but I guess we're going to try and do it the hard way. We want a base hit. We don't want walks, but we'll do it again here on 3-2 as that one is sent out to left field again. Smith and Jigba there makes the grab as now Steven Kwan falls to 0-3 there. Got a little bit underneath that one. And it's now top of the 7th. The Rockies do get on the board with an Ezequiel Tovar RBI single, so a 1-0 lead here. Maddox Bruns on the mound here. Now we got the lefty versus lefty, as that one does find the zone for the 0-1 count now. And Kwan against lefty is pretty even ratings-wise. I think 87 contact pretty much each way. And that one chasing way up. You always want to scratch those from the final video, but we are transparent here. So now an 0-2 count to Steven Kwan, as that one is sent up the middle for a base hit, and we do get one there with Kwan as we'll get runners on first and second now. Tovar the man at second as the lineup turned over. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th as Steven Kwan finds the base for the first time with the Rockies, and hopefully that's the first of many, as it is still a 1-0 game here. 1-2 count now as we have Kwan on first. See if Eloy Jimenez can drive in Tovar from second here on the 1-2 count, as that's grounded to second. Good play there from Bay as he does get out at first, but Steven Kwan gets his first base hit as a member of the Rockies, and they do get the lead here, 1-0, and it's time to stretch in Pittsburgh. Luis Robert Jr. with a solo home run, and now it's 2-0. The last out here in the top of the 9th. 2 away, runner on first now for Steven Kwan. Let's get a multi-hit game now, as they do send the runner, and we send it into the gap there. That is going to put Tovar on third, and we're going to hold Kwan there at first, as Tovar goes all the way home. I didn't realize he was going to keep on the pedal, or the gas on the pedal, and he's thrown out at home on the relay throw. A little aggressive there. I was just, content keeping it runners on the corners, but a little aggressive there. It's Endy Rodriguez there to tag him out, as he just misses, extending the lead to 3. So it's 2-0 heading into the bottom of the half of the inning, and it looks like we did get out of here with the shutout as the Rockies win 2-0 in Steven Kwan's Rockies debut. He goes 2 for 5. A very good day there patrolling left field, as we have Kwan, Luis Robert Jr., and Nolan Jones completing this very talented outfield. Dustin May now 10-7 on the season. Mitch Keller falls to 5-12, and we'll see if May finished this one out. I know he had a complete game shutout a few weeks back, as he does replicate that with only 2 strikeouts. I think that's kind of similar to his last performance. It's so impressive, a complete game shutout with only 2 strikeouts. Luis Robert Jr. a home run, Danny Jansen and Brendan Rodgers each doubled, as Kwan and Robert Jr. the only players with multi-hit games, as we'll call that a good debut for Kwan. So we're now officially here into August, only 2 months left on this year 4 season. I think to end this episode, we'll just simulate quick fire, through the rest of this month, as we go for the sweep here against Pittsburgh, 2-2 into extra innings, 2 men on base, as Kyle Freeland suffers a strained tricep just day to day, and we do get the win there in extra 6-5. We win in the 13th inning. Steven Kwan goes 1 for 6, so his third hit as a Rocky. Eloy Jimenez 3 for 4. Brendan Rodgers 3 for 5, a multi-hit game from Ronald Cabrera, our backup catcher, batting over 300, as Jimenez, Robert Jr., and McMahon each went yard. Kyle Freeland, not the best start, 3 2/3, 2 earned runs, and he did have to leave early, but our bullpen was phenomenal after that, going 9 innings, no earned runs. They did allow 3 runs, but I think that was in extra innings when they already had, that lead man on second. So Andres Munoz does make his Rockies debut, 4 strikeouts in 1 2/3. Brusdar Graterol on for the save as he recorded the last 2 outs, and our closer Ken Hughes 2 2/3, no earned runs, and he did get a strikeout. So we do complete the sweep there against one of the bottom teams in the NL. And I think now at this point we can look at our draft class, so I definitely recommend going back and checking out our draft episode. It should have been the last episode, as we went with Russell O in the first round, and he comes back as an 87 potential, 77 overall, so he's already MLB ready. I do like the 36 stamina for a relief pitcher. Already the walks per 9, hits per 9 there in the high 70s to low 80s, and the Ks per 9, home runs per 9, low to mid 60s. Clutch very high at 76, which I think is like 30 points higher than our current closer in Ken Hughes, although that control at just 42, very, very low. Good velocity, though. Going to probably reach triple figures at some point, as he brings the 4-seamer, the slider, and the cutter. So Russell O maybe, bids for a spot in our bullpen as soon as next season for the South Korean import. Then we had Charles Marcus, who comes in at a low 53 overall, but at just 18 years old, he does have high potential at 84, so basically in the middle of his scouted potential. Nothing too of note as far as his ratings are concerned, although that arm strength, very good at 82, but otherwise, pretty balanced overall. I don't know if balance is the best way to put it. Maybe just doesn't really have any clear strengths at this point, but as he goes along, builds throughout our system, I think give him 5-6 years, he might be able to be a serviceable left-handed utility man off the bench. And then we have Alberto Luis, who's already, pretty MLB ready at 70 overall, comes with 75 potential. First baseman with massive power against lefties all the way up to 89. He does have higher contact against righties than he does lefties, so that's something you don't really expect from a right-handed bat. Very, very good in the field, which is kind of why we lean towards him among our first base prospects we were scouting. But I like Luis as a potential utility man with a very good glove, high power off the bench at 21 years old out of Dominican Republic. Rondale McNeil, 63 overall, just 71 potential, but we really like his fielding and his contact numbers, good discipline, although that weak arm definitely going to be a liability at the backstop, so maybe a position change might be in order for him, although a very low ceiling for him. And then we have Gilberto Soriano, third baseman, 79 potential with 56 overall, strong arm there at the hot corner, all things considered. Decent fielding, the durability at 97, but otherwise the skill set really nothing of note. We like that he was only 18, a left-handed bat, could play first as well, so he brings some versatility as a corner infielder, but that bat definitely is going to have to come around, although he should be a serviceable fielder, especially with that strong arm. Then we have Thomas Tanana, only a 55 overall, so kind of like Charles Marcus up here, very low overall, going to have to progress a lot. I guess same story here with Soriano, only 74 potential, really nothing doing with the bat, but a strong arm there in the outfield and a very good base runner who could steal some bases for you. The bat probably never going to be anything special, so I'm not sure if he really has an MLB future, but of course we're going to try and develop him along. Howard Bowen, a relief pitcher, 65 overall at deep potential, so we don't really expect much from him, but the Ks per 9 at 80 already with good velocity, decent break, good hits per 9, but the walks per 9, that low clutch rating, low control are definitely going to be liabilities, but in the late rounds, we might as well just add another lefty in our farm system's pitching staff. And then Jesus Sosa, we were unable to sign, and I think he was going to be a very good prospect, so we're going to have to check back on him when we get to the offseason in free agency and see how he turned out. But we might just let him sign with another team to keep it realistic in that sense, but not the most, overpowering draft class. In the first 3 years of this franchise, we definitely hit on most of our picks, I would say, but now, drafting towards the end of the first round after making the postseason, we don't really have the luxury of, picking the crop. We kind of just have to settle with what we're given, but we think Russell O is going to be a very dominant relief pitcher, and he's someone who can come in and contribute right away, already at 80 overall almost. That's pretty wild for a draft prospect, even being a relief pitcher. But with that, we'll keep it going here, simulate this 4-game set on the road against the Marlins. We'll have Patrick Sandoval on against Drew Rasmussen, as the Marlins do take that one. Steven Kwan goes 1 for 4. Jimenez, 2 hits, a home run. Danny Jansen, 2 hits, a double. Patrick Sandoval, 6 earned in just 4 2/3. His start to the season was very strong, but he's kind of fallen off here as we've gone along. John Curtis, 2 1/3, 1 earned run. Phil Maton, a scoreless inning of work. Now game 2, we'll have Flaherty on against Shota Imanaga, who was traded to the Marlins, as Luis Castro, a broken arm, one of our top outfield prospects. I think that's his second major injury of the season, so I think his durability rating definitely low, as we do get Grant Levine back there to AAA, as he's someone who's not too far off from maybe cracking the big league club. But 8-3 here, we take game 2. Steven Kwan hits his first home run as a member of the Rockies. He goes 2 for 4 with 3 ribbies. Eloy Jimenez, another home run for him. I think that's back-to-back games now. 3 hits for Luis Robert Jr., 2 for Danny Jansen, as we scored the last 7 runs of the game. Jack Flaherty only lasted 4 innings, 2 earned runs, but our bullpen really held it down in the final 5. Gregory Soto, Andres Munoz, another appearance for him. He gets the hold in a scoreless inning. Phil Maton and Brusdar Graterol, a 2-inning save, and I think he's recorded the last 2 saves for this team. Now, in game 3, we'll have Max Fried on against Mike Soroka, 2 former teammates with the Atlanta Braves. And it is top of the 9th, Jose Alvarado on for the save. Gavin Lux on first. See if Eloy Jimenez can spark some magic, as we do come back to win there, 5-4. You love to see that. Steven Kwan, another hit, 2 for Gavin Lux, Eloy Jimenez, as we got 2 runs there in the top of the 9th to take this one 5-4. Ronald Cabrera with a triple, as he's still batting at the 300 mark. Love to see that from our backup catcher. 5 innings for Max Fried, 4 earned, and again, our bullpen came up huge with 4 scoreless innings combined. Gregory Soto gets the win, Ken Hughes gets the save, and Andres Munoz, another scoreless inning of work, 2 strikeouts, as he's had a very good start to his Rockies tenure, as has Steven Kwan. Now game 4, as we look to take this series, not split it, as we are up 3-0 here in the top of the 9th. Kwan trying to keep that 12-game hitting streak alive, as again, we do post another shutout here, and we'll see if he did not keep it going. 0 for 5 in this one. Gavin Lux had 3 hits with 2 doubles. Luis Robert Jr., 2 hits with a home run. He's really gotten going here in this episode. 8 innings for Dustin May, so he's posted at least 17 consecutive scoreless innings, although he couldn't take it the full distance in this one. 8 strikeouts this time, as Ken Hughes another save. And now we'll start a 3-game set against the Minnesota Twins at 74-42, an identical record to the Dodgers there, who are atop the NL West. Of course, now we're 9.5 games back on them, even though we have been playing better baseball. The Twins are the top team in the AL right now at 74-42, so we will see how we fare against them. Kyle Freeland making another start after we trade to Aaron Savali, his second start here, as he'll be going against Joe Ryan, who's 11-3 right now. And it's going to be a 3-2 game here in the top of the 8th. Runners on the corners from Minnesota. Casey Schmidt up to bat. And they do come back to win there. The Twins take it 4-3. Steven Kwan again goes hitless. 2 hits for Jansen, Mountcastle, and Rogers. As the latter there hit a home run. Luis Robert Jr. Another home run for him. As Kyle Freeland, 6 strong innings, only 1 earned run, although 6 walks. Andres Munoz finally gave up a run there, only 1/3 of an inning, although he did get a hold. Gregory Soto gets a hold. Brusdar Graterol catches the L here, 2 earned in just 2/3 of an inning. And Phil Maton, again, another good outing for him. So now game 2 will have Sandoval on against Pablo Lopez. And Sandoval kind of desperate for a bounce-back start, as it's 3-2 again here in the top of the 8th. Let's see if Graterol can get out of this one. And we do hold there to win 3-2. And Robert Marmolejo still going to be injured for 4 to 5 months, one of our top outfield prospects. So we'll, of course, keep him on the 60-day IL. Brendan Rodgers goes 3 for 4, 2 hits for McMahon and Mountcastle. Patrick Sandoval gets his 10th win of the season. John Curtis a hold as he pitched a scoreless inning. 2/3 of an inning for Brusdar Graterol. Andres Munoz gets 1 out there, gets a hold. And Ken Hughes, another converted save, his 29th of the season, although he did allow 3 base runners. So it looks like the Twins might have had a tying run on third, assuming the bases were loaded at that point. But Ken Hughes able to get out of it. And now we have the rubber match here. Jack Flaherty against Bailey Ober. And we win that one 7-4. So we take the series here against the top team in the AL, as it looks like we might be hitting our stride. Steven Kwan, another 2 hits for him, including a triple. As he also had 3 RBIs, 2 hits for McMahon and Mountcastle, 3 hits for Rogers, along with 3 RBIs. He had 2 doubles in this one. Jack Flaherty gets the win, now 5-10 on the season. 7 innings for him. Ken Hughes, a 4-out save with 3 strikeouts, as he's recorded his 30th save of the season. Now we open a 4-game set at home against the New York Mets, who are under 500 entering this series. Kyle Wright on the mound for the Mets at 3-12, and we have Max Fried at 13-6. So I like those odds, but we do fall here 5-1. It just seems to always go that way when you think you have the advantage. Mountcastle, the only player with multi-hit game, as Max Fried dropped this one, 4 earned in 5 innings, 2 innings for Curtis and 2 innings for Munoz, as he posts another scoreless outing. Game 2 will have Dustin May against David Peterson. See if May could extend that streak of scoreless innings, but he does not. 3 hits at the top for Steven Kwan as he goes yard again, his 2nd home run as a member of the Rockies. 2 hits for Nolan Jones and Eloy Jimenez as the latter also goes yard there. Dustin May, 7 strong innings, very good outings he's been stringing together. Only 2 earned runs, and Gregory Soto, a 2-inning save, his first as a member of our Rockies. Game 3 will have Kyle Freeland on against Jordan Balazovic. And Freeland has taken a shutout here into the top of the 8th. And we win 7-1, so he blows the shutout, but still a very good performance from him. Everyone in the lineup had a hit except Tovar there in the 8-hole. His average has really dropped after a strong start to the season, now under 240. Kwan, another home run for him, back-to-back games now, as Danny Jansen also homered with 3 hits, 2 hits from Mountcastle and Brendan Rodgers, as Rodgers has been hitting very well lately. 7 1/3 for Kyle Freeland as he gets his 7th win of the season. Again, though, a lot of walks in this game, 5 walks. Andres Munoz, 1 2/3 as he gets a save here, 3 strikeouts in that effort. His first save as a member of the Rockies. He's been heavily used here since being acquired at the deadline. And now game 4 will have Sandoval on against Caleb Killian as we look for the series win, not the tie here. And we do split this series as the Mets take game 4, 4-1. Only 4 hits as a team for our Rockies. Sandoval, 10-8, 2 earned in 6. 1 inning from Soto, and Phil Maton, 1 earned in 2 innings. As we started out the month very well, especially that series win against the Twins, but we then split there against the Mets. Now 2-game set here against the Rangers. Jack Flaherty on against Cole Winn. We fall 5-3, and we get back-to-back losses. 2 hits for Nolan Jones, 2 for Tovar. Jack Flaherty now 5-11, and we do have a team option on him, but with the way he's been pitching, especially in the second half, it's not looking too promising after a very good start to the year. And now have Max Fried on against Dane Dunning. Hopefully get us back in the win column as we're trailing 5-0. Luis Robert Jr., a 16-game hitting streak. See if he can extend this as we do get a run across, but we still fall. Robert Jr. goes hitless. 3 hits for Danny Jansen, a home run. 2 hits for McMahon. Max Fried gets another loss here. 2 earned in 6 innings. Andres Munoz, 3 earned in just 2/3 of an inning. So he kind of implodes there after some good outings previously. And now a 3-game set, Dustin May against Matt Manning against the 46-79 Detroit Tigers. And we take game 1, 9-1. 6 players in our lineup, or 5 players in our lineup with multi-hit games. Home runs from Jimenez, Danny Jansen, and Tovar. Dustin May, another very strong outing, 7 innings, 1 earned, and Andres Munoz again, gets the call there out of the bullpen. 2 scoreless innings with 2 strikeouts. Try and take game 2 now. Kyle Freeland on the bump as it's all tied up here in the top of the 10th. We're here in extras as Taj Bradley 4 1/3 with 4 strikeouts, so he's been heavily used here in this game. 17 hits for the Rockies, but only 4 runs to show for it, as we do squeak by with a win here, 6-5. 4 hits from Stephen Kwan, 4 from Luis Robert Jr., 3 from McMahon and Mountcastle, and 2 hits from Jimenez and Rogers. No home runs for the Rockies, despite a 20-hit effort, as Kyle Freeland 5 innings, no decision from him, and then Taj Bradley relieves him and goes the distance after that, even those extra innings there. 6 innings for him, no earned runs, 5 strikeouts, and he's now 6-0 as our long reliever with a 2.07 ERA, so maybe we'll have to get him into some starts at some point, see if he can perform in that type of situation, although if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And now we have Sandoval on going for the sweep here, and it's all tied up in the bottom of the 8th, 2 away, runners on 2nd and 3rd, and we don't capitalize in that spot. We fall 5-1, we don't get the sweep. 2 hits for Jimenez. Sandoval, a very good outing, but no run support, as he went 7 with 1 earned, 7 strikeouts. Munoz, Soto, Mayton, Curtis. Mayton in a third of an inning gave up 3 earned, so that was the deciding factor in this game. I think he's not been pitching well in his recent start. So we're just going to move ahead here through the next week or so and just call this episode quits as we take game 1 there against the Astros, 6-5. 2 hits for Robert Jr., 2 for Senzel as Danny Jansen went yard. Jack Flaherty gets his 6th win of the season, albeit, 5 earned in 5 innings. And then a very meticulous effort out of the bullpen. We used 5 bullpen arms in this game as Ken Hughes got his 31st save, holds from Gratterall, Munoz, Soto, and Curtis. And now let's try and take game 2. We'll have Max Fried on against Luis Severino, who's 14-6. Very good record for him here with the Astros. We're leading 3-1 in the top of the 8th. Jimenez, an 11-game hitting streak on the line. And we do win there 3-1. We'll see if he extended that hitting streak, as he does. So I think, 12 games now, make it a baker's dozen for Jimenez. Only 3 hits for our Rockies, but we get the win. Brendan Rodgers, a 3-run home run there in the top of the 5th to take the lead. We never looked back, as Max Fried now 14-8. Phil Mayton, Brusdar, Gratterall, scoreless innings. They get holds, and Ken Hughes, another save converted. Now make it 32 for him, as he's really rebounded here in the second half of the season after a slow start. Now we'll try and get the sweep here. Dustin May on against Hunter Brown. And we are up 4-0 here in the top of the 9th. Again, Jimenez bringing that hitting streak down to the wire here, as it's at 12 games. I thought it was 13, but we get the win 4-0 as Jimenez doubled there in that last at-bat. We just saw 8 hits as a team. Mountcastle, the only player in the lineup not to get a hit, as Dustin May, another phenomenal start. He's been maybe, the best pitcher in the entire National League here post-All-Star break. 7 1/3, 12 strikeouts for him, and Gregory Soto gets the final 5 outs, 3 strikeouts in that effort, as we've now won 5 of our last 6. And we'll just finish up this episode with these last 2 series here. We have St. Louis on the road. Kyle Freeland going for win number 98. Or I'm sorry, I think win number 99. So he's definitely inching up there to 100, trying to be the first 100-game winner as a member of the Rockies. And we're trailing here 4-3, so it's not going to happen in this game, as Jimenez, again, that hitting streak coming down to the wire. 2 men on here in the top of the 7th. And we do come back to win there, 7-4. You'd love to see that. Stephen Kwan, 3 for 5 with a triple. Multi-hit games from Jimenez, McMahon, Mountcastle, Jansen, Tovar. So Jimenez had 2 hits there in the final, 2 or 3 innings. One of them being a double. Jansen, Rogers with home runs. Kyle Freeland, 5 innings. No strikeouts. John Curtis gets the win, as our bullpen 4 scoreless innings combined between 4 different arms, as Munoz and Gratterall each get a hold. And Ken Hughes, another save, as, like I said, he's been very consistent here after a rough start to the season. So we've had a very good month of August so far. I think a record of 14-7 if my quick counting is correct. But even then, we haven't made up any ground here in the National League West, as we're still 9.5 behind the Dodgers. But we have pulled away in a big way from the Padres. They were inching up on us, but they've now lost 3 of their last 10. And we now have 7 games on them, as they are still in line for a wild card spot along with us, as we are the third best team in the National League this season so far, but still the Dodgers and Braves. Look at the Braves at 89-43, and the Dodgers at 84-48. So we have 2 Goliaths, it seems, here in the National League. The Rangers leading the AL West, the Twins leading the AL Central, still with the best record in the American League, and the Rays leading the AL East. So we'll get through these last few games here and pick it up next episode with September call-ups. As game 2 here, tied 3-3 in the top of the 7th. And again, we have the player highlight for Jimenez, trying to make it a 15-game hitting streak now, as we do fall here 6-5. But Jimenez does get a hit to extend that hitting streak by way of a home run, as Nolan Jones and Nick Senzel also went yard in this one. Steven Kwan, 2 hits at the top of the lineup. He's been super consistent for us after trading for him, but our pitching just did not get it done here. Sandoval 3 earned in only 5 innings. Mayton allowed a run, and Andres Munoz allowed 2 earned there, as he's been a little up and down, kind of on theme with how he was pitching in Cleveland before trading for him at the trade deadline. But he has had some good outings, some flashes, and I think he's been a good addition to the bullpen, all things considered. Now, game 3 here against St. Louis, the rubber match against the Cardinals, as it's 3-2 St. Louis, but we have 2 men on here in the top of the 8th, as we do come back to win there 5-3. I love to see that. Steven Kwan with 2 hits, Jimenez and Senzel also with 2 hits, as Jimenez extends that hitting streak now to 16 games, I think. And another home run for him. I think that's back-to-back games with home runs now. Kwan a triple, Senzel 2 doubles, and another no decision for Jack Flaherty, as Ken Hughes gets another save, now make it 34 for him, and John Curtis gets the win in a scoreless inning of work, as we stole the lead there in the top of the 9th inning. So we take another series here, and we have not dropped a single series yet in the month of August, so hopefully I don't jinx us here. Our final series we're going to get through here in this episode, we start off at home, Max Fried on against Jacob Junis, first game against the Phillies, and we fall there 6-3. Steven Kwan, another multi-hit game for him at the top of the line, but double with 2 RBIs, 3 hits for Jimenez, as he continues to mash, really extending that hitting streak now up to 16, 17 games. McMahon, 2 hits for him. Max Fried really has not pitched well in the second half of the season, especially post-All-Star break, as he had 4 earned runs, his record now at 14-9. Munoz, a scoreless inning of work. Phil Mayton, scoreless inning, although he had Mayton gave up 2 runs, none earned though. John Curtis, a scoreless inning. As we try to avoid, losing this series here in game 2, we'll have Dustin May on against Aaron Nola, and Dustin May is definitely the guy we want out there, as we are trailing though 5-0. Aaron Nola has a shutout here into the bottom of the 8th, and again, this Jimenez hit streak coming down to the wire, as we do get shut out there against Nola, and took it to the last series to drop our first series there in the month of August, as I definitely jinxed us. Steven Kwan, another hit for him. He must have a pretty good hitting streak going at this point too. Only 4 hits as a team, as Dustin May gave up 3 earned, so kind of coming back down to earth a little bit in this start. Phil Mayton, 2 earned runs for him, as we gave up 14 hits as a team, and Aaron Nola did get the complete game shutout, so Dustin May, kind of a taste of our own medicine against us, as we look to avoid the sweep. Now, the final game we're going to check out in this episode, and we'll just highlight Kyle Freeland real quick, as we did, move him to the bullpen for this season, but after trading away Aaron Savali, he's now made 5 starts. He's 7-3 at 98 career wins, so hopefully by in next episode, when we simulate through September, we will play a little bit as well. Maybe we'll do a player lock game with Kyle Freeland and see if we can get win number 100 for him, but a 3.63 ERA, a 1.34 whip, with 2 of those starts being considered a quality start. And he's on pace for the highest WAR he's posted so far in this franchise. So I think the move to the bullpen definitely helped him. Now at age 33, the final year of his really hefty contract, you can't wait to get that $15.5 million off the books. But still, an all-time Rocky great, the most wins, most innings pitched. I think most strikeouts at this point, as we've gone on through this franchise. So, one day you might see his number retired maybe at number 21, but who knows, it's been a long ride for him with the Rockies, but getting 100 wins with the franchise and being the first player to do so, I think, obviously holds a lot of weight, credibility, success, whatever you want to call it. So we'll do a quick manage game here to end the episode. I know it's been a long ride here, just simulating a lot, but really want to put an end to this year 4 season so we can move on to MLB The Show 25. And if you haven't yet, please, let me know in the comments, what team would you like to see me roll with here in the new MLB The Show. But before that, we're going to finish this game here. Kyle Freeland on against Bryson Stott. Yohan Rojas, as he does reach on an error. So here's Bryce Harper. Rojas steals second. A single there for Harper. So now runners already on the corners here in the first inning, as Bryce Harper picked off there at first. So make it 2 outs now. Yohan Rojas on. Pitch around Trey Turner. He does draw a walk. So here's Chris Parnell now, last year's Rookie of the Year, and he grounds out. So some early trouble there for Freeland, but he is able to avoid any runs allowed, as Steven Kwan, a leadoff walk now. Here's Eloy Jimenez, as he pops up. Now Ryan McMahon on as he singles, so Luis Robert Jr. now on as the cleanup man, and he grounds into a double play, not what you want from your number 4 hitter. As Rodolfo Castro will lead it off for the Phillies, he strikes out. Now Rafael Marchand, their catcher, he pops up. Alex Call on, and he grounds out. So a 1-2-3 inning from Freeland. Now bottom of the second, and we get a solo shot there from Ryan Mountcastle to lead it off. And now here's Nolan Jones, a very bad season for him, batting just .220 with only 38 RBIs in 459 at-bats. He strikes out. Danny Jansen a flyout. Brendan Rodgers a 2-out single. And now here's Tovar. He grounds out. So now top of the third. And it's Freeland a 1-out walk there to Stott. Here's Johan Rojas. He flies out Bryce Harper. Does not get any opportunity as Rojas was caught stealing. So we have a pickoff, a caught stealing already here through 3. And Stephen Kwan will lead off the bottom of the third, ground out. A single for Jimenez. McMahon fly out, Robert Jr. a flyout. Now top of the fourth, still 1-0 Rockies. A leadoff single there from Harper. Pop up Trey Turner, strikeout, and a flyout. So Freeland has done a very good job here after that Rocky first inning. And Zach Wheeler there, a 1-2-3 now into the 5th inning. A leadoff single from Marchand. And he steals second, so 2 stolen bases against Danny Jansen in this one. Although he did throw 1 runner out as well as Alex Call flew out. And a runner thrown out off that Boyd double, so we're getting lucky with some fluky outs here. Bryson Stott now on as he grounds out, so still scoreless are the Phillies as Rodgers will lead us off with a ground out. A solo shot from Ezekiel Tovar, so 2 solo shots are the means of our run so far in this game. And make it 3 now as Tovar and Kwan go back-to-back as the lineup turns over. I think Kwan already 4 or 5 home runs with the Rockies post-All-Star break. He is absolutely mashing, definitely taking advantage of the elevation here at Coors Field. Jimenez a ground out single there from McMahon, and now we'll take it into the top of the 6th as Johan Rojas will lead it off. He strikes out, Harper grounds out, and then a flyout. So another 1-2-3 inning from Freeland as he may be in line for win number 99 as Taijuan Walker comes out of the bullpen. A 2.38 ERA for him, as I think he's been in and out of the rotation, but here obviously in a relief role as Nolan Jones a single. Fly out, and then a ground out. Now into the 7th inning, Freeland still on the mound. Ground out, fly out, pop up. So another 1-2-3 inning from from Freeland as Tovar grounds out. And they get a 1-2-3 inning. Now here into the 8th inning, we'll see how much longer Freeland can stretch it as he does give up that leadoff single. Fly out now back to the top of the lineup. We pitch around Stott, and that does walk him. So I think now we do have to go to the bullpen here with Johan Rojas up. As much as I would like to go lefty against Bryce Harper, Soto, I didn't even realize Soto's our only lefty in the bullpen right now. Our bullpen is kind of tired, but Gratterall has been very good here lately. Let's see if he can get us out of this jam as he gets the fielder's choice. Now runners on the corners for Bryce Harper, and he gets an RBI single. Now here's Trey Turner, and he ties it up with a 2 RBI double, a 2-run double, and then a walk there from Gratterall. Here's Rodolfo Castro, and he grounds out. So Freeland is not going to get win number 99 as we implode there in the top half of the 8th. And then we go 1-2-3 in the bottom half of the inning as the Phillies now have a grasp on this game. Probably have to go back to the bullpen here. And I think we'll just go to Ken Hughes, our closer, because if we're going to win, it's going to have to be by way of walk-off. So might as well get him out there. See if he can take it into the bottom of the 9th. Still tied up. Brandon Marchand as a pinch hitter. And he draws a walk. Now here's Amarion Boyd again. Fly out, strikeout. So bottom of the 9th now. Let's see if we can walk it off here as Nolan Jones a leadoff single. I think we'll go a little hit and run action here as Jansen did ground out, but luckily we had the runner in motion. Otherwise that probably would have been a double play. And now here's Brendan Rodgers as he flies out. So let's see if Tovar can be the hero tonight, as he is not, as he strikes out. So Johan Rojas up, and he singles. Now runners on the corners for Bryce Harper. And I think we'll go back to the bullpen here, bring out Soto in this lefty-lefty matchup. And Rojas steals second, so it's only, might as well just pitch around Bryce Harper with the base open. And now here's Trey Turner. A single for him brings home the go-ahead run. So 4-3 here, bases loaded, no outs for the Rockies. Not looking good. We do get the fielder's choice. Now here's Rodolfo Castro. Definitely got to go back to the bullpen here. We'll go to John Curtis as he's the most rested. And he gives up a 2-run single. Then gives up another RBI single. A sac fly makes it 8-3 now, as we just totally lost this game Gave up 8 runs between the 8th, 9th, and 10th inning. That is not going to do it. And then 2 outs, we get an RBI double for McMahon. Still 4 runs down as we get a 2-run shot from Robert Jr. So we're not saying die quite yet, as they'll bring out Joel Payamps for the 1-out save. And he does get that. So we were up, 3-0, 4-0, and then we end up falling in extra innings to the Phillies. And we do get swept in this one as well. But this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's kind of a long drive in this game or in this episode, rather. Just got to get through the remaining part of the season, the dog days of summer, as they call it in baseball, as our Rockies at 76 and 62 on pace, obviously, for a playoff spot again this season. But we don't want to just make it to the NLCS, the NLDS. We're trying to get a pennant this year and make it to the World Series. But really appreciate you if you've been sticking around with this franchise. Of course, we're going to be going into MLB The Show 25 here very soon. Once we finish up and wrap up this year 4 season with our Rockies, we're going to, of course, be moving on to MLB The Show 25. So let me know what team you'd like to see me rebuild in the new game, and I'll definitely consider that. But I do have some ideas with who I want to roll with, but we'll see what happens. But either way, let me know what you think. And as always, everybody, it's been real and be well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.